When I was 14, I was living on a farm with my family here in North Idaho. We had one cow and way too much milk. So naturally, my mom and I started a cheese business. It became a key part of my homeschooling, helped support our family of 12, and eventually went on to win some national awards. Today, I'm gonna take you inside the whole operation. We're gonna meet the cheesemakers, and I'm gonna show you how you could start your own cheese business. Stick around to the end because I really believe this is how we save small town America, and this is how you can create a family business that really matters. When life gives you milk, you make cheese, and then sell it at the farmer's market. All right, Lydia, I'm done. Time for you to take over. There you go. Aim it a little bit more towards the bottom left. No! No! Welcome to the channel. I'm Isaac, and if you love stories about small businesses and craft, hit subscribe and follow along. We're just getting started. So my cheese making journey actually began when I was 11 years old. I had begun helping a friend flip cheese on the weekends and in my after school hours. That was just the beginning of a teenage obsession with cheese making that eventually went on to lead to this really unexpected discovery. But I was hardly the first cheesemaker in my family because my mom had actually started making cheese 2 decades or so earlier with a friend of hers, Rebecca. They were making mozzarella, yogurt, soft cheeses, and giving them away to friends and family. So then when I was 13, my dad moved our whole family across the country to the mountains of Idaho, and we rented a farm and immediately started buying farm animals. One of the first things we got was a milk cow, and that's when I learned all about milking. Before we knew it, we had too much milk on our hands. It was going to waste. So I had an entrepreneurial bug, I guess you could say, in me, and thought, hey, I should make a business out of this. Of course, I had my mom as an excellent teacher, and she herself was eager to get back into the craft since it had been so many years since she'd done it. My dad and I hunted on Craigslist for an old fridge. We found one and then jerry-rigged the freezer so that it would cool it at like 52, 53 degrees, which is ideal for aging cheese. And then I remember opening up the catalogs and ordering all these cheese cultures. I couldn't even pronounce their names. I called them up and tried to sound older than I was and placed these big fancy orders. The package came in the mail, I opened it up, and that day dove headfirst into making brie. Before I knew it, I had ventured into some of the more advanced cheeses like cheddar and Gruyere. And I really think that was the best way to learn, just radical experimentation. Later that year, my mom's old friends, Rebecca and Brian, who were running a cheese business in Texas, moved up, joined our operation, and things really went to the next level. They took a chaotic teenage operation and brought organization, systems, and a lot of expertise. Our cheese went from mediocre and hit and miss to really great almost overnight. And just when it felt like we were in a groove, we'd outgrown our soup cauldron. It was time for another huge leap. My family and a bunch of friends pitched in together and purchased an old abandoned Ford garage in the town of Deary, just a few miles down the road from our farm. And together, we completely restored it and opened an artisan bakery and cafe. With some of the extra square footage though, we built a state-of-the-art creamery for our growing cheese business. Let's go check it out and see how the cheese is made. Here we are. Brush Creek Creamery looks a little more sophisticated today than it did when I was working here, which was a few years ago. Hannah, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So Hannah, tell me exactly what is your role at Brush Creek Creamery?
So I manage the business side. I do ordering, accounts payable. I manage people.
You're the big cheese.
And I make sure that the cheese that we make here gets to the customer's table. As a teenager, I always had a dream of having my own creamery. I milked goats. We had a small 1-acre farm where we had about 6 goats that we milked every day, and I loved making cheese at home. So years later, Brian invited me to come up and help at the creamery up here, and it was a dream come true, and that was 8 years ago now. and I haven't looked back since. I have loved every bit of it.
All right, Dawn, tell me what kind of cheese this is.
This is our mozzarella cheese.
And I take it you are the head cheesemaker.
Yes, I make a lot of cheese. I started here a little over 9 years ago. I did not start out cheese making. I kind of just did the simple tasks, and I have worked my way up to cheese making.
So technically, a robot can monitor temperatures and do all of those same tasks, even maybe more precisely than humans. Do you think that something about the personal touch, the human touch, comes through in this kind of cheese making?
Absolutely, because not every single batch is the same. They're all a little bit different. It just is a personal touch on it. And I know that making smaller batches too is also what makes it artisan cheese and makes it more special.
When I was doing it, we literally would have batches that would turn blue and other batches would turn white. Some batches even turned brown. So let me take a stab at what this is, because this was one of the recipes we did when I was here. You make yogurt, then you strain it in muslin, and then you add in garlic and a bunch of herbs, scoop those balls into these little containers, pour in olive oil, you have dried chilies, and it's called marinated Labneh. Did I get that right?
Yes.
And Labneh, is that still your #1 bestseller?
Yes. We have won about 10 awards on this marinated Labneh, and a lot of those being first place awards. We have won several blue ribbons on our Orchard Blue as well, and our brie cheese.
So that means this is the best cheese of its kind in the country.
Yes.
That's awesome. Can we take a look at the blue cheese and some of the hard cheeses?
Yes.
Aging? Familiar smell.
Yeah, this is our aging cave. We age all of our cheeses. We have them organized. We have our smoked Gouda right here, and a lot of our bandaged cheeses are down this way. And in the center, we always keep our blue cheese, our Orchard Blue. And then on this side, we do a lot of our dill Havarti and our huckleberry Havarti. All of the cheese in here is aged for a minimum of 60 days. Cheddar, I really like to age it for at least 9 months. I think that's when it starts tasting like really good. Goudas, I really like them older as well, like sometimes at a year or even more.
So if I remember right, the ratio was 1 gallon of milk to 1 pound of cheese, roughly speaking. And if you're doing 800 gallons of milk per week, that's 40,000 pounds of cheese per year. How much per pound on average does this cheese sell for?
We normally sell for about $28 a pound, depending on what cheese.
So that's over $1 million a year of cheese from pretty small footprint operation.
Yes.
For 3 years as a teenager, I poured absolutely everything into the creamery. Eventually, I moved on to another job, but the lessons of hard work, perseverance, and craftsmanship will stick with me forever. And I'm still great friends with Brian and Rebecca, my first bosses. We've been through a lot together though. I didn't even tell you about the time that I started a craft soda company in the creamery. We had exploding bottles and shards of glass over all the wheels of cheese. That's a different story for a different day. If you love these videos on craftsmanship, small town America, and how to create generational businesses that thrive, hit subscribe, follow along, and I'll see you on the next video.